Hi everyone, welcome back to the MNS Cards YouTube channel. My name is Michael. I hope everyone's doing well today. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that I think are really useful for businesses that some of you may be underutilizing. So these are some things that I've learned about from just being a business for about 5 years now, and they really helped me scale my business in a lot of ways and got me back some of my time. And I think some of them are no-brainers for a lot of people out there, but may just not know that they exist. So I'm going to talk through a lot of things today and just kind of talk about the way that I utilize different platforms and different services, and then maybe you can look at seeing if it's something that would be useful for you. And I'm not affiliated with any of these. These are just some things that I've had experiences with, and hopefully maybe my insight is able to provide some value to you and may spark you to go and look into them a little bit more yourself. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to be clicking through quite a few slides, or I guess not slides, but tabs on my Chrome browser. So I'll talk through each one individually and we can take a look together. So let's get to it. All right, first one, PSA. I think that a lot of businesses, if they're not using PSA, I can understand why, but I think it's something to really consider. PSA, it is challenging right now with the turnaround times that they have. It's taking months and months to get your cards back, but they do something that no other service can do, and that's they can multiply the value of your cards. Pretty much everything that I grade, from going from raw to a PSA 10, it doubles in price, and I have no other way that I can do that right now in this market. So it's something that it's worth it for me to get cards in, send them out for grading, and get them back. It does take a lot of experience to learn how to pre-grade cards and figure out what looks like a PSA 10, what looks like a PSA 9. There's going to be some variance. PSA is consistently inconsistent, as many people say, but it is something that it value adds so much to cards that I think it's a no-brainer for a lot of people. And if you haven't tried it, I really encourage people giving it a shot. GameStop, I don't have a tab for it, but they offer a great service where you can go in, submit your cards, and I've heard that the turnaround times are faster on those. So if you just want to give it a shot, and I mean, it is going to cost you some money, but you can send some cards off, get them back, see if you like the way that the process works, and then try to sell some of those cards. And you may find that, hey, they're really they sell pretty well. There's a lot of demand for PSA, so that might be something that you can do in the future. PSA also, they have their PSA membership, and they send you magazines. I think it's monthly, and sometimes they have promos in there, and sometimes they have different magazines that are collectible. Like, I know I got a One Piece magazine months ago. Hey, it might even be a year ago now, that has a One Piece promo card in it, and that card alone right now will pay for, I'm pretty sure, 2 years of my PSA membership. So there's a lot of value add to the PSA membership, and I think it's worth at least giving a look at. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with PSA, but it is something that I utilize, and I think it's important to know that it's out there just so that you can utilize it if it's something that makes sense for you. Next up, CGC. CGC gets a lot of hate. They've had the scandal where they allegedly graded fake test print cards, whatever. That's in the past. It was months ago. No one cares anymore. So the way that I utilize CGC is a lot of the cards that I don't think will PSA 10 but have a shot at getting a CGC 10, I'll send them to CGC. There's a lot less demand for CGC. Like, just in general, less people collect CGC cards. Like, I could list a PSA 10 and sell multiple copies before I even sell one CGC 10. But if it's something where I'm going to send it to PSA and lose money on a 9, or I think I can send it to CGC and make money on a 10, then I will take that less liquidity just so that I can make that margin on the card. There are also times that I've graded cards that I did not think would PSA 10, and they've gotten a CGC Pristine 10, which just like 5 to 10x is the value at times. So there's things like that will happen with variants. CGC grades differently than PSA. CGC will be a little bit more lenient on things like print lines. So if it's a card that is pretty expensive and it has a print line, and I'm pretty sure PSA will dock it to a PSA 9, I'll send it to CGC just hoping to get that CGC 10. So then once you've graded your cards, how are you going to sell them? So I primarily sell all of my cards on eBay. And I think eBay is a great platform. There are millions of people on eBay coming every day searching for cards. So if you have good cards that are listed well at good prices, they're going to sell on eBay, especially in this market. Like, I use PSA scans mostly for when I'm selling any graded cards. I have a scanner for any raw cards, and I have quite a bit of turnover through through eBay, and I like the platform. A lot of my systems are set up for eBay. I can go and I can purchase labels through eBay at the discounted rate versus USPS. It's about the same as pirate ship, so it's all on one platform and it's really easy to use. I like how PSA brings me customers. There are some selling fees. I think it's like 13.5%, but I pay a little bit less because I am a store and I'm a top rated seller. So some of those fees come down, and I think I average like 11 point some percent, and that's accessible to anyone. There's people out there who have negotiated selling fees with eBay, and that's great. They're probably selling upwards of $1 million, would be my guess. I haven't reached that point. I haven't had anyone from eBay reach out to me asking to give me or wanting to give me lower selling fees. I'm sure none of them will see this, but if you are out there and you want to reach out to me, I am happy to take less selling fees, and I am happy to sell a lot on your platform. But for right now, I think eBay's great. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I really like how they just bring customers and I can list it and forget it. And sometimes you get messages from customers, but I just respectful to them, let them know, like, I list everything pretty much as buy it now with no best offer, and that's okay. You will get messages from people trying to give you best offers, and I usually just say, hey, like, no thanks, price is firm. And some of them will get mad, but honestly just block and move on. There's plenty of buyers out there. I'm really quick with the block button. If you're disrespectful to me, I have no time for it. I don't care. You can go purchase from someone else. There's lots of great sellers out there. There's lots of great buyers, and I just don't need to be any part of that negativity. So overall, I think eBay's great. It's my primary platform for selling. So yeah, that's what I use. Next up is Instagram. And I think Instagram is really great for social media. There are people who have huge followings who do lots of sales, and that's great. For me, it has not worked. I've tried to sell things through Instagram, and a lot of it is just people coming, asking questions. Hey, can I get more pictures of this little white dot on the corner? Possibly. It's hard to tell from the pictures. And I'm like, it's a PSA 10. Like, it might have a white dot, it might not. I don't have time for this. And then you have to go and you have to get their address and then get the shipping label and then ship it out. Like, it was not worth my time. And the thing is when people buy on Instagram, a lot of them want to pay about 10 to 15% less than eBay. So you're not even saving any money by the time that you take less than what you could get on eBay. And then they're winning because they don't want to pay sales tax. And so the buyers on Instagram have not been great in my experience, and I want something like eBay where I can list it and forget it. I will list a card. This is the price. I put it lowest list or close to it, depending on what other things are selling. And, I would wake up or I get notifications on my phone throughout the day like, hey, this sold. Buy a shipping label, slap it on, send it out, done. Instagram, in my experience, it has been too much of a time suck. So in my experience, it's much better for me to just list on eBay and just be done with it, and I'll ship it when it sells. And with Instagram, like I've said over and over again, like, it just takes so much time that my time is better spent sourcing and just continuing to churn versus responding to messages, listing things on my story. Like, it has not been a good experience for me. But if it works for you, that's great. I'm just letting you know what my experience is. So next up are consignment services. There are so many awesome consignment services out there, and I'll talk about ones that I've used, ones that I'm considering using, and why I think that they're a really great option. So Z&G Emporium, like, this is something that they're a little bit less known, but within certain parts of the Pokemon community, they're very well known. I have sent tons of cards through them. I've just recently sold a card through them that was like $1,700, and they're a great service. They do a wonderful job. Like, James is the owner of Z&G Emporium, and I'm in different discords with him, and I have very similar views to him on the market. So I don't know. as a person, like I'm really happy to support him, and I haven't met him in person. Maybe I will one day at a Collecticon or whatever. But in the way he handled the CGC test print issue, he had sold some cards, but he just refunded everyone, got the cards back, and went through the process of getting the insurance claim on his own. So I think the way he handles his business is very good, and I'm happy to support him. He's got different ways where you could submit cards to him. You can just put him in a box with your information, you send it to him, and he just lists them on a 7-day auction. They run from Sunday to Sunday, and they sell, and then you get paid out as soon as he gets paid. And that's great. But what I primarily use him for is for buy it now listings. He says they have fixed price consignment. They don't do fixed price under $250. So everything I send to him for fixed price is over $250, and where it really makes sense for me, over $1,000. So if I'm going to sell a card for $1,000 on my own eBay, I'm going to be paying that 11% fee. And I know that if it goes through James, then I'm going to be netting more money than I could on my own eBay. So that's crazy that he can handle all the work. He can ship it out. Once the card makes it to him, he's responsible for insuring it. So if someone were to buy it from me on eBay and I ship it to authentication and it gets lost on the way, I'm responsible for that. But as long as I can get the card to Z&G's door, then it's their responsibility at that point. They take full responsibility. So as soon as it sells, then I get paid out a couple days later. I think they do payouts like the Tuesday the following week. So it's really smooth process. And so just to kind of give you an example, like this is a card. It's a PSA 10 Monk Psyduck. So I'm going to sell this card at some point. I don't know when. I would probably net about 4,100 on my own eBay if I were to sell that, and I would net about 46.50 if I were to sell it through Z&G. So it's a no-brainer for me. If I'm going to be selling anything over $1,000, then it's going to him or another consignment services that has good payouts. But honestly, I'll probably be sending it to him because I've used him before. I trust his process and I like the way that he handles things. So yeah, it is also really nice if you're trying to scale. Like he is paying 88% for $100 to $999. So that's better than a lot of people are getting on eBay, and it's probably better than I can get, because if I were to send him a fixed price for $250 and it sells, I'm netting 88% of the $250, versus if you know how eBay works, they take final value fees. So if someone pays $250 for it and then they have a 10% sales tax, so they're paying $275, I'm paying like the 11% off of the $275. It's a lot of math. It's really in the nitty gritty, but no, like there's a lot of cases where I could be selling it through James and be netting more than on my own eBay. But I don't always do that, just because I like the churn where I can be getting stuff back from PSA and listing it and selling it on my own eBay quicker than I could be getting it back from PSA and then shipping it to James, and then he has to list it and he has to sell it. So for lower value items, it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially they don't do fixed price under $250. But for things that over $1,000, then it's a no-brainer for me to use him as a consignment service. Next up, Arizona TCG. I haven't used them, but I know people who have. They have a great website, and like they have this sliding calculator where you can see if I were to sell that Monk card, I think it's selling about 5,000 ish. I don't know if I can get, but yeah, like you can see that's what the net payout would be. It would be, and here's the percentages. It would be way more than I would sell on my own. So it's using these services that are giving you better fees and doing all the work for you. Like that's a no-brainer. Next up, DC Sports. Very big eBay. They do consignments. It's a great service. I'm sure their fees are comparable to Arizona and Z&G. One thing that DC Sports does do is they do raw cards. So if you have a Mewtwo V-Star, as an example, that you want to sell raw, you can ship it to them, and I think their fees are a little bit higher for raw cards because it looks like they have to do scans. I don't have to do that. You will have to look up what the fees are, but that's something where if you don't want to be listing raw cards on your own, you just want them out of your space and you want to get some amount of money for them, DC Sports may be a good option. I think, like I said, check the fees, see if it works for you, and might be something to look at. All right, next up is Fanatics. So Fanatics is a selling platform, and it's actually technically Fanatics Collect, but they do weekly auctions that end every Sunday for a wide range of cards. They've got TCGs, sports, memorabilia, stuff like that. But one thing that people I don't think utilize very often is they have grading through Fanatics that goes directly to their auctions. So if you got cards in and you're just trying to churn and burn, I think this is a great service where you can go in and you can see what they cost. They will authenticate and do raw cards, is my understanding. I haven't used it before, but that's how I understood this. Weekly auction. So CGC cards, $10 per item. So I'm going to go back to CGC real quick. So right now, the public rate on CGC with no membership is $15. And you can, elite members, I do have the elite membership, so 20% off grading. So what would that be? So I'd be paying $12 a card with my membership, but if I go through CGC Fanatics, it's $10 a card. That's better than I can get with CGC, where I would have to go in, fill out the form, ship it to them, do all of that. Like, this is literally, you just send the cards to CGC with your, or to Fanatics with your information in the box, and you don't have to fill out any forms. I think they handle all of it. So it's a great service. If you're just trying to get some of your time back and you just want to chuck cards out and churn them, then send them here and they will do all the grading, listing, selling, and just send you a payout. PSA, also $18.99 per card, and this is nice. If you know you're going to auction them anyway, you can send your cards to Fanatics. They're going to do all the grading, the listing, the selling, and you just get a payout at the end. So I think that that's a great service. $18.99 per card. I think I do have a PSA membership, but I'm pretty sure that you do have to have the PSA membership to get the $18.99 per card. So if that's not something you want to pay for, you just want to send it to Fanatics and grade for that rate, then it's available. I don't grade really with BGS, but it looks like they still offer that same value. And SGC, I've never graded with them, but it's $18 a card. So those are options, but I will kind of show you what it looks like. So this is the CGC Fanatics. So you just put number of items, estimated value, any additional information, and then if you have a promo code, again, I don't have one, not affiliated with this, then you just hit finish. And I'm not going to enter this information because I am signed into my account and I don't want to throw over any red flags or anything, but I'm pretty sure you just print out the form, put them all in a box and send them, and they handle the rest. So again, huge time saver. And one thing that I forgot is the PSA Vault. So if you grade through PSA, and you can take their instant payouts, which their instant payouts have not been super great for me, but they do have a eBay page where you will sell your things through PSA. And I'm not sure if you've been looking on eBay lately, but they're almost the top result anytime I search for PSA graded cards. So a lot of traffic to their store. They are in the top search results, which eBay, that is an algorithm based service. So yeah, anytime you can have your card at the top, that's a benefit. And whether we like it or not, PSA is a big company and they have an agreement with eBay to have one of the bigger selling accounts. So they're going to get more traffic driven to their store, and that's just part of it. So for less than $500, I think the fees are pretty comparable to me selling through my own eBay store, but over $500, I do believe that it is cheaper to sell through PSA Vault. So another one of those things where I can grade a card and I don't even have to touch it, and I can get it sold. I'm not using it a whole lot right now because the time to transfer from grading at PSA into the PSA Vault to get listed on eBay, it's several weeks, and right now we're booming. I want my money faster than that, so I'm getting them back and then selling them on my own eBay store. But it is a great option if you don't have the time to be doing all that. You just want to send the cards to grading, have PSA sell them for you through their eBay page, then you don't have to touch it. You can just let them handle everything. So those are just a few of the services out there that exist. right now there's a lot of people trying to grow businesses in the Pokemon TCG world, whatever you want to call it, and start using them to your advantage. There's a lot of places out there that will sell your cards so you don't have to buy packing materials, you don't have to have a label printer, you just let them handle all of that and you get your time back. And right now there's so much opportunity in the market. Like, let these people take some of that weight off your shoulders so that you can do what you need to do best. And that could be running your business. That could even be if you have a family that you want to spend more time with and you're just getting bogged down by cards that you need to sell. Just send them to one of these consignment services and take the payout. You may not always net as much as you could on your own doing different deals through Instagram or your own eBay or whatever it is, Facebook. But if you're getting your time back, that's something that you'll never be able to get back. It goes fast, so make sure that you are using your time most efficiently and at least maybe exploring some of these options that are out there. I'm sure there's a ton that I missed, but these are just a few examples of things that I'm using and looking at to help me and my business. So with that, I've got things to do. I'm sure you do too, so get after it and have a good one.